Hello. Excellent work. You are clearly much more proficient in the ways of war than most visitors of the Kaled Coast, even the soldiers. The wonderful gentlemen and ladies of the Alpha armies have been kind enough to act as my loyal escorts, all the way from Melsenshir, and before that, Erethel. Without these good, hearty folk, I never would have survived. The voyage across the sea would have been enough to sink my spirits. Brune was the name given to me by my mother, a lovely daughter of the full moon. A skin like the glow of alabastra. Long ago, I was the court bard of Castle Gastyr, the teller of tales, the spinner of stories. But when the Bolgan invaded, well, they had no need of my expertise. This lush land was once the royal domain of two great Alpha families, the Ancillas and the Gastyrs, the most powerful of bloodlines and the most bitter of enemies. For centuries, the two houses warred over the coast. So enamored were they with each other that they blinded themselves to the real threat. And so the Bolgan came and conquered. The houses fell before them. One might say they were toppled by their pride. Lord Aaron Gastyr was a very wealthy lord and a powerful landowner. I don't care to speak much more on the subject, thank you. It would be my great pleasure. Picture it, 10 years ago, the rising sun, a lingering fog. Somewhere in the forest are screams, the cries of battle. Then silence. It happened here upon this site. The ambush of Gornakri. It is here on this spot where the Bolgan drew first blood, killing Lord Aaron Gastyr, his son, and their squires during their morning ride. Let us move on, shall we? And if you don't mind, there are more beasts to attend to ahead. The Bolgan have infested the entire area around Castle Gastyr, my old home. Destroy them, and I will relate the tale of the first Lord of Gastyr himself. Goodbye. Hello. You have done it. You have rid the gates of the Bolgan. As promised, I have another tale to be told. The very first Eren Gastyr arrived here generations ago from Mel Senshir, before the final tower was raised. When the great giants of Cluracan were but saplings, on that very first morning of his arrival, while the sun ascended the sky, Gastyr scaled the heights and saw below him the great keep of the merchant Ancilla. Gastyr could not bear such an intrusion on his new ancestral homeland and swore an oath. By right of mine and sword in hand, I will not forsake our native land. Now that you've seen Castle Gastyr, we should move on to the final stop on our journey. The last thing I want to show you is near the coast, on the cliffs overlooking the sea. It's the best story yet, but again, it must be freed of Bolgan. Goodbye.
Through the woods and mountainside, through the hollows and green meadow, through the summer, winter, day and night, through the hallowed halls of seasons and song, through the vengeance, pride and sorrow, echo the footfalls of the greaves of the Fey Hunter.
Hello? There, you've cleansed this place of the Bolgan. I shall tell you the last tale, the best of the lot. Believe me, these cliffs were made for my story. I've told the tale of the first Eren Gastyr, he who discovered these lands, and I've told the tale of his descendant, the last Eren Gastyr, he who lost these lands. My final tale is that this last lord took a young mistress to his bed, a servant named Wilda Brandon. They had a child he refused to claim as his own. To assuage his guilt, he wrote a royal letter in which he decreed to her and the child great wealth. But rather than take that letter, she took her own life. Here, that woman was my mother. Hear me, friend. I do not have much, but I will offer you all that I have to find me that letter. The letter that broke my mother's heart. I will read it, and I will finally know if what my mother told me was true. Then I will destroy it. I want nothing to do with the Gastyrs. My mother never wanted his kingdom. She only wanted his love. That letter has haunted me for 10 years. I will now be rid of it. Of him. Friends. Yes. I suppose we are friends. I'm not sure where to look for Father's letter. Father. Strange to call him that. I would think he'd keep it near, lest such revelations be discovered. The castle. That would make some sense, wouldn't it? I'll be back at camp. Be careful. I would feel terrible if anything happened to you. Goodbye.
time, I'd just assumed Enodon had abandoned me, that there was no justice left in this world. But here before me stands the hero of Melsenshire, in the skin, fresh from the Baelor's bloodying, and it appears my prayers have been answered. Tell me, how much goodwill do you have left, Honored One? A Tuatha priest named Rassanon has captured this keep. I am sworn to destroy him, for it was he who deposed House Gastyr and stole their ancestral home. For 10 long years he has lived as a lord, hiding high in the royal quarters where none can reach him. At least, not without help. You see, I am Hilared Gastyr, descendant of Lord Aaron Gastyr and last of my family line. This castle and all within it belong to me. My great-great-grandfather built this keep. You can still find the one stone resting where he laid it in the courtyard. We spent 4 generations in these hallowed halls. Then the Bolgan came, followed by their Tuatha masters. They killed everyone, Fae and Alfar alike. Rassanon was the worst of them. He murdered my mother and now sleeps in my family's chambers. With your help, Honored One, my family will find restitution. You will be rewarded, my friend. We Gastyrs have long memories of both our friends and our enemies. Come. Rassanon knows I cannot pass through his gauntlet alone, but together we can avenge Castle Gastyr. I am a captain under what is left of General Talera's army. There are only a handful of us left after Melsenshire, but we press southward toward the Tuatha's lair. However, my quest for justice means more to me than any victory. I have left my soldiers in the capable hands of Captain Canwyn. She has moved ahead without me. Yes, I remember Brune. He was kind, silly. There weren't many like him in the court. When everyone else was so grim, Brune and his heart never ceased singing. I wonder how he fares now. It has stood here on the Kaled coast for centuries, a testament to the will of my ancestors. Rassanon made it a grave. Now I will make it his. I grew up behind the walls of this stronghold. All my memories are of its beauty, its security. It was an ideal childhood. Those days have long since passed. When the Tuatha marched, it was Rassanon who killed my family and claimed Castle Gastyr as his own. And though he may hold the castle, he will never hold its name. I have devoted my entire life to reclaiming this castle, enlisting in the army, fighting under General Talera, and then breaking free of Melsenshire. This is my destiny. Were you not told the stories as a child of Rassanon the Ravager? Rassanon the Red-Eyed? He was one of the first to give himself to Gadflow. It is my life's work to make him answer for his crimes. Old as I am, he is older. And I don't want him to die without knowing the rage of his killer. Hurry! Come on! Stick together. Let's go. It's not far now. It's not far now. He didn't even seem to remember me. I've given my life to finding and killing Rassilon, and he probably didn't even understand why. But now the quest is ended, here, at home. I want you to have everything of mine as a reward, and to help me forget the many years of tragedy that led me to this end. Now go. I need rest. I deserve rest. These old halls have been held too long by the Bolgan. Castle Gastyr has been left a ruin. Once this war is over, we will rebuild. My days of blades and battles are behind me. With the aid of people like you, I shall rebuild the Caelid coast. The name Gastyr will mean something again. Goodbye. Yeah.
Hello. You have gone through much to bring me this, only to watch it destroyed. But it must be done. You understand? This letter proves that I am an heir to Gastyr, and an heir to his heartlessness. He gave my mother everything, when all she wanted was his love. And now, she's gone. You are my friend. You may not agree, but that is what I choose to believe. You have helped me more than anyone has. I will remember you. I hope you will remember me. Goodbye.
What is it?
hunter runs, swiftly, swiftly for our lives. A mortal skirt of chain, a mesh of links forged in secret. The hunter runs, in the chausses of the Fey Hunter.
The Tuatha are on the run. Good work. Plus, it's much more pleasant here without Gadflow bellowing at me from all corners. But enough pleasantry. Are you prepared for your reunion with Ventrinio? The notes we got from Octien say that you were employed as Ventrinio's assistant in his secret laboratory. You were with him in Alabastra when you died. But the notes weren't clear on what happened. I'm sure the two of you have so much catching up to do. Just make sure he lives long enough to get us into Alabastra. Once that's done, it's none of my business. Of course, this is bound to be informative. I'm just disappointed I never had a chance to see the original Well of Souls. I believe our new friend has a disturbing path of living shadow to offer you. By all means, be my guest.
Make it quick. This island is a perversion.
I hope you're ready for this. Sidon's band of merciless Fae with lifetimes of training and everything to fight for? Yes, I think they'll be quite useful allies indeed. I believe our new friend... This island smells like death. Stay behind me. Whatever that gnome's been up to, it looks like he's made a few... That'll do. Just as Hughes thought, Ventrinio used the same wards from their old lab. This'll be quick. Follow me and be careful. The lads are coming from somewhere in here. This is...
The energy from the Well of Souls is overwhelming. Damn it! What's wrong? And why are there so many lads?
Sounds like our rat is caught in a trap. I'm sure he'd be happy to help whoever saves him. Or we'll get trapped up there too. Here's where we part ways. I'll stop the lads at the stairwell. You get upstairs and retrieve Ventrinio. He's a worm, but a useful one. Octien took quite a risk setting him up in Urukon. Must have made a lot of deals to keep him safely hidden away. Shouldn't be hard to find him. Keep moving up and follow the cowardly shrieking. I'll hold this staircase. Move!
A new source of power? What sort of nonsense is this? If anything had come in here, my detection spells would have... Wait. Who's down there? This is what I get for you. When you get up here, try not to hurry! Before the whole well starts to collapse. Took your gods, damn it! Ever since the Balor was defeated, the chaos magic sent the well off its alignment. You show up, and now the Laz are... Wait. What? It's you? You're alive. But I saw you die. I'm Ventrinian, of course. Don't you remember me? You were my assistant here at the Well of Souls. You were going to help me change the world. But of course, that was before you died. It was terrible. You were the best assistant I ever had. Who else could have helped me get into Alabastra? Who else had that ambition? We got more than enough Prismere, but you wanted to track down the power source, even if it meant sneaking right under Gadflur's nose. I spent days trying to recover your body, but I never expected to find you alive, or for you to return. Speaking of which, how did you return anyway? Of course you did. You went there to steal Prismere to power the well. You wanted to go after the source of the Prismere itself. You went off, geared for war, sneaking into Baal itself. You damned fool! Better chance of bringing you back from the dead than I had of changing your mind. Which I wasn't able to do either. What? That's impossible. impossible. You're attuned at this well. You've never even set foot in his lab. Ha! Hughes is a joke. He doesn't have the stomach for this work. Try waking the dead if you're not ready to make a few corpses, I say. But the well is coming down around us. Quick! I've got to slow the energy and shut this thing down. And don't... Oh, damn it all. Here they come. Hold them off. The Laz are here. Hold them off while I try to stop the flow of energy to the well. Ignore the rock. Focus on the Laz. Anything we can salvage? Even a piece? All my work gone. Damn it all! But at least we're still alive. Once again, I triumph over death itself. I won't be talked to like that by an assistant. Why, I ought to... I mean, I ought to watch what I say and offer any assistance required by the large, heavily armed people who outnumber me. So we're going to Alabastra then. Speaking of not killing me, I want you to have this talisman. It's something I salvaged from my well, and it might just help you in Alabastra. We got in with a little help, of course. See, it's all because of Callus Dren, the defender of pride. In his house, no one can stand before him. None can even approach, unless you have my little secret. Patience, patience. You'll have it soon enough. I'm going to have to dig it out of the rubble of the tower. Go to the field of Huber, and I'll meet you there. And if you value your life, do not approach Dren. I know the type. Lucky youth, peaked early, then crawled into a bottle and waited to die. I'm impressed you dragged him away from that bottle, but I wouldn't expect him to do any heavy thinking. You mean your deadly little shadow? I know her type. All smiles now, but it's just so she can get close enough to stick her knives in you. After an unfortunate incident with the Templars, Octian decided to move my work someplace a little further from the public eye. We both felt that an island in another land behind the front lines of a war might just be far enough from prying eyes. Dren, defender of pride, one of twin defenders, quite powerful in their homes. But did you know they were also entirely immune to each other's powers? And it seems the defender of valor quite disappeared when her house fell. Imagine how useful she would have been if she were here today. Simple bone soldiers, easy enough for any decent mage to build and animate. They're not really alive any more than a puppet is. Gadflow's got an empire built on Prismere. Think of all the power he's sitting on. And he's wasting it on swords and bows. Arrogant fools, all of them. At least we could sneak past them when they were overconfident. Now that the army's at their gate, they'll be watching for us. The Well of Souls is a noble project. Yes, sacrifices have been made. Laws have been broken. People have died. And they will continue to die. Don't you see? That's exactly what I'm trying to prevent. How many have died in this war? Thousands. The bodies are shoulder deep on the battlefields, but for trying to cure it, they call me a monster? My name is Ventrinio Dessalini, and I am Professor Emeritus Abscondus of Post-Mortem Studies at the Edessa University. Of course, that was all before I began work on the Well of Souls. Such an important undertaking doesn't leave much time for other pursuits, you know. We needed tremendous quantities of Prismere to fuel the well, but it's almost unheard of outside of Alabastra, so we had to sneak in to gather our own. Octien, the man lacked vision. Can you believe all he wanted was his own personal immortality machine? Such a narrow-minded goal for a Templar. Still, he wasn't squeamish about what had to be done in order to develop the well. I suppose he paid well, too, if you'd consider that any reason to pursue the sciences. You don't remember it? Well, why dredge up the past? After all, you're fine now, aren't you? You're not the type to hold a grudge, right? Okay. We were in Alabastra getting Prismere. I never thought it'd be dangerous. At least not very. Oh, don't give me that look. Accidents happen, and you can't make an omelette without leaving a few corpses. I didn't know anything about you before you worked for me. Octien hired you and told me you were a resourceful assistant. That's all I know. You never talked about yourself, but you were terrifying, okay? You were the coldest, most terrifying thing I've ever met. You wouldn't have threatened me like this. You would have just stabbed me to death and looted my corpse. Seriously, I saw you do that to people. Often. Here. You left this in your room before you died. Take it. Just please don't kill me. Get going.
I'll keep an eye on the gnome.
Don't go near Dread until I get there. Hopeless.
Like the gilded ghosts of youth, the curving plates of fey-like scrolls decorate the life's guard of this impostor. It says, "I am like you, Fey Spirit," and shimmers with a brilliant gleam. This cuirass of the Fey Hunter.
This painful water.
Strength of contempt, fear, and hate courses through the rushing veins to the very fingertips. The instruments of war are readied, light in the grip, and machinations of the gauntlets of the Fey Hunter.
Did you hear that? Hold on. Someone's coming. How can one Fae...
By the gods, it was horrible. He killed them all, and nothing could stop him. It was Dren, that freak who guards the House of Pride. He told us to leave, but we thought we could beat him. He's just one Fae, and not even a Tuatha, but nothing hurt him, and he slaughtered us all. The worst thing was, he seemed sorry to kill us. We'd heard the legends of Dren the Bloody, unbeatable defender of the House of Pride, but you know how Fae are with their stories. We were going to be the ones who beat him, and opened the path to Alabastra for the army. We were going to be heroes, you know? Then Dren told us to turn around or we'd die. And God's help us, we didn't turn around. We thought so too. We were wrong.
Damn it! I told them not to try anything until we arrived. I was hoping you'd find the answer to that question along with Ventrinio. Oh, here he comes now. Maybe he'll tell us. This can't end here.
Sometimes one soldier can do what an entire army cannot.
You haven't tried approaching, have you? No, of course you haven't. You're still alive. This took a little longer to find than I had hoped, but it should be exactly what you need. Dren had a twin in the Summer Court, Dith the Defender of Valor. They were both entirely immune to each other's power. She faded when the House of Valor fell, but my early experiments with the Well of Souls provided a quite useful little surprise. You see, when trying to draw life energy from the ether, I captured her essence and bound it into this charm. With this, you will be immune to Dren's power. It's not as powerful as it used to be, and it's specific to Dren. But it'll let you face him and live. Now, be fair. Fae don't have souls as mortals do. They're a form of magic with a physical form. And I only got a little of it anyway. Just enough for a certain degree of immunity to Dren's power. It only works for one person, but it'll be enough for you to reach him. Trouble is, he'll be immune to your power as well. But I'm sure you can think of something. Now, go show that defender what a little magic...